I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
What's going on, Cowboy Nation? I know what's really going on with everybody. Since we have like a 1 o'clock game, sometimes we get a chance to dissect and watch the game and go over the game, and then we get a chance to do some other things, and then come back and either lick our wounds or celebrate a victory. But the day we come back and we talking about a very tough loss that we had in Carolina. Something that a lot of our fans didn't see. A lot of our fans thought that when you look at a lot of our fans, our predictions, a lot of our fans had a prediction of that we were going to come into Carolina and just do work on Carolina. Okay. Do work on Carolina. I'm glad you told me that, man. I don't know if I've been having problems with my mic all day. We thought we were going to go into Carolina and just roll over Carolina, and they were just going to sit back and say, that they just going to allow us to just roll over them. Can you hear me now? Is my mic up now? Making sure they want to make a check. There's a mic check. Can you hear me now? Let me know if my voice is better now. Okay. Appreciate it. We had a very, very tough loss today. Had a very, very tough loss today. The loss that we had today wasn't surprising to me as it was to a lot of other people. I thought going into this game that the odds of us winning on the road 2 times in 2 weeks is a very taxing event on any football team. When you talking about an NFL team going on the road 2 weeks in a row, that's a very, very taxing thing for an NFL team to win. I also knew that going into this game that Carolina is a good football team. I think they're going to contend for a playoff positioning, because you don't run the ball for 200 yards with really Rico was their backup running back, because their main running back went down and Rico took over the main running back position last week. And you don't run for 200 yards against a Miami Dolphin team who's usually a very good run defense and not have a good running game. And then when you have the 2 big wide receivers and a Bryce Young that's moving up the ladder of getting more consistent. And look at their record this year and then look at the games, they're putting points on the board, and they got 30 to nothing shutout. When you look at that team, I knew it was going to be a tough game. But there are some glaring questions that we got to answer as a Cowboy football team. And I don't know if our Cowboy Nation is ready to answer those questions. I don't know if we are at a point of not answering those questions because we are at a point of so thirsty that we think that it's going to be easy to get to a championship level, or a competitive level to earn a right to be competitive for a championship. But I do know it's a lot of excuses. I do know that we as a Cowboy nation and this football team has a lot of excuses. I do know that we always come in and say, well, it's this and then that and this and that. But I just don't ever hear, we just got to play better. When I hear, and I had to sit back and think about certain things when we was at the, and I thank Boss Cowboy so much for giving us that platform for the watch party. And I had to think back when they had the dig statement up there, and I think we got in a discussion about the dig statement. And I don't want to go too much in depth about what I really think, because my first view, what I saw is one of the basic problems, but I'll get into that. But when he said that it's confusion and people are running free, could you just have said that we got to play better on the back end and we got to be better than that? Uh, And I understand where you're coming from, man, but I say that because throwing people under the bus right now is not going to get us nowhere. Is this season over at 2-3-1? No. Are we sitting in the spot that we need to be? No. But I hear people talking about scheme. I hear you. But the effort ain't there, people. And I keep trying to tell you people the scheme has nothing to do with effort. The effort is not there as a defense. If you could tell me, if I gave you certain criteria of football, and if you can answer them and say, are we fast on defense? What will your answer be? Probably not. There's no Blazers. Are we a very physical defense where we really punish people when we tackle? I said no. Do we look like we're a very smart defense? Not when we still saying that when we have people saying that we got communication problems in week 7 in the back end, and we got supposedly our best player in the back end saying that. We don't think that that player, that this player would have been saying, hey, we should never have this problem. But to point it out and you the guy, I just don't I don't understand. And that's a very interesting point, Peyton, was it? We had these same tafus with coverage when we were playing man to man against Green Bay. When guys were running wide open with a different defensive coordinator. Running across the middle, wide open. Down the sideline, wide open. We had the same thing with. I don't understand when people don't see that we had some of these same tafus with Zimmer. I'm gonna say it, man, and I really truly mean this. If I had my choice, I may go with one or two guys that's in that back end that's veterans, and the rest of these guys will be rookies and second year guys this year. Your leading penalty guy, and this is not. I'm just telling the truth. The leading penalty guy in your secondary is Trayvon Diggs. He got the most penalties. And when you say stuff like what he said today, you said that to throw coaches under the bus. I said this, man, and I don't know if people, I know I might be losing a lot of viewers and all that stuff, but football is a very um, particular sport. And if you're not together as a team and you got guys that's on a selfish rampage for themselves, it could be the biggest cancer that you can ever have in a locker room. When you got guys out there trying to make their own way and make their own contract and get their next salary and get the next deal because they're trying to do things so they can look good, so they can get that next bag, they don't give a damn about the team. And I'm seeing guys on this team that really don't care about the team. I heard all this about this unity and all that stuff. What are we doing film wise between the days of the game? When I hear a coach say we have better practices and that we were more attentive in practice, that tells me that we got a group that's not that they're trying to get dedicated to practice. But this defense somewhat is a veteran defense. When you look at that, you look at Diggs and Wilson and uh Wanye Thomas and Bell, they've been together 4 years. They've been here. I don't care if it's a new defense or not. Bland, that got another contract. Your veterans are your defensive backs. They should be the most cohesive group on the field for your defense. Your linebackers just came together to play together this year. You got a second-year guy that didn't play that much last year on your defensive line. You got Sam Williams that was out all last year. You got Mozzie's not even playing. You got a rookie playing. You got Salma Thompson here the first year, him being here. And you got Osa. Your defensive backs are your veterans on your team. And they're the softest, most confused unit on the field. One thing I said about this, when you have a player that's not happy, if you don't get him out of here, you cannot expect a player that's not happy that you don't think is happy, and that's not the guy, or he's been going through some contract problems, or he felt that the organization had done him wrong, and you can't let that guy be a leader on your defense or offense and expect that it's going to be leadership quality. When when Trayvon Diggs got benched and he didn't start for a game, they went over by why this happened. Don't y'all think that was concerning? And when you ask a guy, and he talks about, and let me share a screen with you, man. Let me share a screen with you. I just want to show you, because I've been looking at this. I went and I said, let me look at this, because I wanted to break this down a little bit. Because when you look at certain things, people, you go back and say, let me look at this. When you go out here and you look at it, and I hope y'all can see my screen. I hope I shared it enough for y'all to see it, right? And I can't see y'all now, but I want to talk to you a little bit about this, because I shared my screen so I could talk to you a little bit about what I went back and looked at, because I had to go back and take a look at it. Because if I took a look at it, I say, well, by taking a look at it would give me a better perspective. Because I heard somebody say something about, people running around, running wide open down the field. And I pointed this out at the game, at the back end, at the watch party, not the watch party, but the post game show. And I'm like, man, we're talking about guys running, and we're talking about guys running down the field wide open, like that was the main main thing that hurt our defense. But let's look at this. Bryce Young went 17 Let me see if I pull y'all up, but I need to, because I might want to see some of y'all chats. And I look at it because I wanted to see what y'all saying in the chat box. So I got that pulled up. Hold up, I'm connecting so I can, because I'm watching watching my show on TV so I can see what y'all see, right? And now I'm trying to put up the chats. So let's see if this pulls up. If y'all put some chats in there, it should roll up on the screen. But Bryce Young was 17 for 25. He didn't even throw for 100 and not even 200 yards. He threw for 191 yards, only 8 yards perception. He threw 3 touchdowns, which was in the red zone, and one was outside, 2 inside the red zone, one was outside the red zone, I'm assuming. And he had 1 interception. But Rico Dowdle ran the ball 30 times for 183 yards. Altogether, they got 216 yards rough of rushing. Rico Dowdle had the longest reception of 36 yards. Now, when we look at explosive plays, 1 explosive play, two of them by Rico Dowdle, 34 yards. The other one by J.C. Horn in the second half, where he got the 34-yard pass, and he had 21-yard pass. The explosive runs, the longest run Rico Dowdle got was 15 yards. But explosive plays, I wouldn't say that was a big typhoon. And now I see that they won explosive plays. But when you have a cornerback says guys are running wide open and people look confused, and then somebody tell me about touchdowns, I understand that. The touchdowns came down the red zone. Our red zone pass defense down in the red zone and goal line has always been horrible. Because if you don't have safeties to get covered, they always attack the middle of the field. But this Bryce, he only completed 17 passes. This did not kill you. The 183 yards kill you. And this was a true 183 yards. Because he didn't have a big run of 15 yards. This was a true 6-7 yards a carry type game. A workhorse performance. But nobody talked about the physicality of the defense. Because that answer about guys running down the field and we look confused, to me, that's a finesse-ass answer. You didn't get beat because you didn't know how to cover people. You got beat because the guy told you to buckle up and they ran it down your throat. This has nothing to do with man coverage. If you tell me a quarterback throw for 17 for 25, 199 yards, I can keep him in check. And we look at the scoring, they got 3, we got 3. We scored 14 points in the second quarter. We went into this halftime leading. We scored 7 points together in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they took control. But the question I keep asking this, man. I keep asking us. Nobody's talking about the physicality of our defense. And I'm not saying this bad about my cohorts. Man, I enjoy them greatly. But I have to push them to talk about the physical part of our defense. Nobody talks about, do we have some hitters on the defense? I never heard a team talk about their team and say that their team is great, and nobody talks about hitters. Nobody talks about tone setters. But I do hear excuses on other things. I hear excuses about how we need to play it. I hear excuses about what they're not letting us do. I hear excuses about what we would like to do. I hear excuses about we would like to do this. I hear excuses about we confuse. But I never see a totally all-out, bang 'em up, tear the roof off the house type mentality in our defense where we flying all over the ball, just hitting people. Never. It's not one of those ones that have short-term memory. I'm not one of those ones that have short-term memory. And I'm saying why I don't have short-term memory. You just brought up an interesting point, sir. Whoever just made that comment about Dan Quinn. And let me say what, and I'm gonna say this. And a lot of people might not like when I say this. We let the guy out the door that probably could have got us into a championship mode. Schottenheimer would have still been here as offensive coordinator if Dan Quinn was the head coach here. I wouldn't have doubted that. If you like what Schottenheimer doing there. And this defense would have been a lot more aggressive physically. I think that the Green Bay game was a game that just a team that went in there that was already thinking that they were going to go to the NFC Championship game and play San Francisco and got shocked. I remember this defense the first year Dan Quinn got here. And I remember the year that, some people talking about Mike Nolan, this defense like Mike Nolan. No, it doesn't. I remember the players turning on Mike Nolan and talking about they didn't do this and they didn't do that and all that confused. But Dan Quinn didn't take the same players Mike Nolan had and change around. He brought in 7 new starters on this team. Did a whole draft picks and brought new players in here and started it all fresh. He kept a couple of, but he changed most of it out. Brought Curse in, Andrew Brown. He brought, he let Wilson started for the first time. He brought in the linebacker from Tampa Bay. He brought in defensive lineman. He drafted defense. He changed the whole defense out. Michael Parsons, he changed the whole defense out. He did not try to change the guys that already said that the Mike Nolan was garbage. He got most of them out the room because I don't want guys in the room that's blaming the coach. And when I'm watching on film, they playing hard. And that's what I say about this team. I'm hearing they talk about they don't want to play and this, we should play this. But when I'm watching what I'm seeing, I don't see effort. I'm going to tell you, all these content creators out here watching film. When y'all watch film, when y'all watch this defense, watch how we as defensive players do not go towards contact when we tackle the ball. We're allowing the guy to contact us. And most times we're trying to do it from the side and grab hold. Or we coming and we're not playing behind our pads and we just reaching with our arms trying to grab somebody. Watch that. And if you see that, that's an ideal to tell you guys are turning physical play down. I watched the first Rico Dabo runs when he ran the ball right up the middle. And our safety, we brought the other safety in from Florida A&M, number 14 in the game. And Rico just ran right through his chest because he stood there waiting on him. And you know something? I do blame it. Whoever's coaching the safeties and coaching the defensive backs, I might can blame them because whatever tackling, how they're telling these guys to put guys on the ground. I watched Bland last week be physical. I watched him be soft today. I know some of y'all gonna say coach is just old school. He talking about old school stuff. But I will say this again, man, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I really mean this. If physicality is not your forte on defense, your defense has no chance. If your defense is not a physical defense, you have no chance. Some people say, no, coach, you can have a fast defense. Are we fast? Are we that fast? Are we fast? We ain't talking about that fast. And if your defense is not physical, you have no chance. And maybe that's Eaglefoos. But that has never been a product of his defenses before. I said something about culture way back. If you go back to my other videos, and it was back, and I said something about this when Zimmer came here. When I said Zimmer was trying to change certain things. When you're trying to change the culture or the mentality of a group, there will be growing pains. And you may find out there is some guys that we think are good players that we really like that may not be suited to fit the culture that you're trying to build. There may be some guys that we may not look highly of, and they may fit the culture that we're building. One thing I can say about Sanborn, we were talking about Sanborn. A lot of people were talking about Sanborn, just ripping him in pieces. But one thing he did do to do well, he played the downhill run very well, and that's all you got today. Rico ran very rarely outside. Everything was downhill, and he might have bounced it after he got up in the line of scrimmage, but everything was downhill. This would have been Sandberg's best game. This would have been his game that he would have shined because this came right at our line. It came right at you. But you know what we did? He didn't play because he was hurt, but we selling him. What I wanted to do was say, hey, there I see some good in him. I don't see him being a every down backer. I don't see him being in every type of game because some things when they try to attack him certain ways, his athleticism, but I didn't see him playing so bad that he shouldn't be on the field sometime and having a role that he does what he does best and he could be productive at that. Because I said in the defense, you got to have sacrifices. There are going to be pieces of people that can do certain things that can do it well. And downhill running, he does that well at linebacker. But you know what we said? James might be a better sideline to sideline guy, but he might not be ready for downhill running. I know Clark ain't. But instead of we just try to throw people off the boat. We need to find roles for those guys to fit and say, hey, man, he only needs to be in it with this because this downhill running would have fit him perfectly because he went had to chase. It came right at you. Now, he might be slow of foot, this and that, but he was physical. And I'm not selling in James or throwing him off the boat, but I think the rookie guy has a better plan to do certain things. He's still learning. But this team is built on so many damn excuses. Oh, we need this. We need to go get that. We need to go get this. And teams are winning with less talent, but more grit and heart. And as I said, man, you can try to change culture. You're going to find that there's some people that's not going to fit it. There's going to be some people that you don't think going to fit it. And then you're going to have some people that's going to buck the new culture that you're trying to fit. Because either they don't want to change because it's been okay for them, or they don't have the mentality to change into the type of player that you want to be for this type of culture. And there's some players on this team that just are not built for something they may be asking for. I know I'm fighting a losing battle here. I know I'm gonna look like the villain, and I know I may lose a lot of. Well, I may not lose. I might not gain the notoriety because people gonna say Coach Marv don't know what he's talking about. It's we need to go get Cosby. We need to go get it. I say yes. I'm not opposed of everybody talking about going to get players. But if you're bringing a player in here when the house is not right mentally, when the house ain't in order, you might be digging yourself a hole for for years and years more of sadness. I ask my content creators, I ask the ones that do the film and I watch film. I ask them with the ones that go in and look in. I want you to really look at every rundown. I want you to look at the people that lost. I want you to look at the people that came engaged. I want you to look at the people that was on blocks that seemed like they were trying to get off the blocks. I want you to see how people attack. How did we surround the ball when we got the ball on the ground? How did we? What hits did we hear? Did we see the running back falling backwards on some of these hits? All of those are important. All of those are what we call physical plays. I want y'all to look at all that because a team don't run for 200 yards, a running back don't run 200 yards on you by happenstance. And now him telling you that he wanted to do that before he even got to the game. I know it's easy to talk about scheme, but I want this team to get, I want these other players to get the same scrutiny that Dak would get. Because if Dak don't have a good game, he's garbage. They don't care about what the play calls are. They don't care about what the other defense was doing. They don't care about what receivers he had on the game. They don't care about who dropped the football. They don't care about who let the ball pop in the air. They don't care nothing about that. They rip his ass. They rip him a new asshole every time he has a bad game. But everybody else on this team, we got excuses. I think Diggs could be a great football player. But I know that them Diggs got some selfishness in him. But I know he could be a great football player. But you can't complain about coverage when I see you not going and making that tackle to stay to a 5-yard gain. And then you throw everybody on the bus talking about we got people running wide open. Because now everybody's saying who made the mistake. I just don't, and maybe I'm sound frustrated. I am. And we'll see the thing. You'll see it on tape. But I think we're gonna go right back to the same. Listen, we do Lou Takes do a great job of his videos. He does a breakdown every I think every Monday when he does a breakdown all the offensive line and defensive line plays. That's a great video because it gets to show you the total action of these guys. And it has proven to a point that Terrence Steele is not garbage. Yeah, because we get to see it every week. But I don't see rally and want to in this defense. And this is another part that's really perplexing to me. And I want y'all to think about this. Because I know a lot of y'all heard probably on the live screen or y'all probably heard somebody say, well, they don't want to play for Matt Eberflus. And some of y'all may think since they don't want to play for him, that's why the morale and the effort ain't there. And they upset with him. But think about this. Philly has lost 2 games in a row. They're 4-2. Washington had lost 2 games. The Giants had lost 4 games. Here it is. We're going to Carolina, where we're coming off a victory. And we got a chance with probably with a quarterback that's playing the best ball in the whole NFC, probably the whole NFL. And we got a chance to get in this thing. And you're going to take the frustrations because you don't want to play for Matt Eberflus to not make you play hard and lackluster because you don't like what he's doing, and you're on the precipice of getting back in this division at this particular point. You don't weigh that more to play hard, but you play down because you're not excited about what he wants you to play. Against a guy that's talking trash to you? I ask you all fellas, ask y'all people there, y'all don't see nothing wrong with that? Do y'all want those type of people on your team? If that's the case. I could see if we was the Cleveland Browns. I could see if we was the New York Jets. We 1-5. We ain't going nowhere. We already out the division. But here is a chance for you to pull in for 1 game behind the leaders and start making and getting back in this. So you're going to take now the half-ass it a little bit because you're mad at the coach? I can't take that as an excuse. And you just came off a good defensive game where everything was so lovely. You were glaring about how we came together as a defense last week. And then some little bit of adversity in this game, and it just took your joy, and you just start, you start the effing one day because they don't like playing for who they're playing for. Do that. I'm just asking y'all, man. Does that even sound right? To me, that sounds like some old selfishness that's gonna cause us a season because they're so super sensitive and selfish. That's what that calls me. I can see if you was on a 10-game losing streak and you was like, okay, this is gone. We out of it. Now you done lost. You mean tell me you done lost the locker room and we in contention? This man told you that he buckle up. I told you, remember I said it's an alpha and a beta made out of every game? In the first quarter, they made sure that they showed that they was the alpha on the line of scrimmage. And then once they decide in the first quarter they the alphas, it don't change that game. Maybe it may change if we play them again, but it don't change that game. If we're not gonna bring the level of physicality up on our defense, we just gonna be watching the next 11 games. And I hope Dak doesn't start feeling the pressure where they don't even want to try to us not running the ball today. I hope that doesn't push us into next thing we know we get CeeDee Lamb back that we throwing the ball every down and we becoming so predictable with throwing the ball that it gets harder and harder for Dak to throw the ball and the blitzes start to mount up and the blitzes start to mount up and get to him because we just took all finesse out of all the physicality out of our offense. And I can see that about to happen. And this all goes back to the mental toughness of our football team. And this is not a mental tough road. When you talk about the I was just talking to a friend of mine before I got my cousin before I came on live, and I said, "There's 4 battles. Remember, I told you with the 4 battles that you got to win a game. The turnover battle, which we won. We won one. We plus what? The turnover battle, the physical and effort battle. I think they won that because of their defense. They were more physical and they had more effort, even though we put some points on the board. They made us go one dimension. Now they might have let us get some big plays in the back end on runs or on yak. Yes, we did. The penalty battle, I think it was kind of even with the penalties. I don't know if we won the penalty battle or they won the penalty battle. But I think it was kind of even with the penalties. So we won the turnover battle. They won the effort battle. The penalty battle, I think that was even. And we kind of won the explosive play battle because we had something to go big time touchdown. But now I look at it, they may have had 1 or 2 more than we did. But I think we won the explosive play. It was even close. But that what makes this game a 3-point game. Because the battles was right down the road. But this team defensively, know what I tell this team? I would tell this team to say, damn the scheme. Just go out and hit some damn body. Whatever scheme you in. I don't care if you're in a soft zone. When he catch the ball in front of you, let's go get him. And if you play defense, Ty, if you play defense, if one of your calling cards on your defense, if you got a defensive team, any defense, and the first thing people say to you is that your defense is not physical, what do you have? And I don't think it's never been the same, And that's something that we got to stop doing too. We got to stop, and I'm not talking bad about you too, but we got to stop doing it. We got to stop combining the 30 years into 1 year. It's not. It's been something different every year. It's never been the same. But it's a multitude of excuses, though. I watched Kansas City today. And some of y'all watching Kansas City. Kansas City came in this game with their backs against the wall, and they they're beating Detroit physically. Not finesse wise. They're handling the offensive line. They're attacking the run game. They're beating them physically. That's how you got to go and beat big teams. That's the way you had to go into Philadelphia. That's the way you had to go into Carolina to beat Carolina. You were not going to out finesse it. You had to go in there and say physically, y'all not going to be able to do anything with us. We're going to match your physicality. And we didn't. And I'm starting to think we just don't have those type of guys. Because some of these guys came in here physical. But if you be around a finesse place for a while, it's hard to get it back. And that's what they're doing to Detroit right now. They're actually physically beating Detroit up. Yeah. So the questions we got to ask, the real football questions, do we have the grit to get back into this season? Do we have the grit to be able to win physical games? Do we have the grit to do it, to grind out tough way? Are we a gritty team? Or are we a team that don't have no grit? Are we that? I want y'all to look at everybody who has the chance to look at the replay of the game. Everybody who has a chance to look at all 22, all y'all, everybody got a chance to look at it, all 22 got a chance to look at the replay of the game. I want you to go on I want you to go on there and look at it, and I want you to judge effort first. I want you to judge effort from my offensive line when they made mistakes. Because there was a lot of mistakes there too. I want you to see our tight ends when sometimes they didn't make blocks. Our receivers when they didn't make blocks. When you run a screen pass, a wide receiver screen pass, or full back screen, and we don't get nobody blocked, they tackling the guy in the backfield. That means your initial person not getting out there and making a block, which you definitely got to get, and that's the easiest block, the first guy. Because you probably stopped blocking him from the start with. I want you to look at those things. I want you to look at those things. I want you to look at it and see how we're attacking the guys. Is it punishing tackles? Or it look like we just grabbing? Watch how many guys the guy runs by don't even put their hand on the guy. We ain't talking about Barry Sanders here. And what that is, when you run by a guy and he don't put his hands on you, know what that is? That's when you playing football without moving your feet. You reaching with your arms, but you're not moving your feet towards the target. You're not playing behind your pads. Let's look at that. Let's look at how we get off blocks. When guys are stop blocking us down the field, or they get in the cutoff block, we standing straight up in the air trying to fight them, and we're not with our knees bent, running through people to get to the ball. Let's watch that. See, people be talking about they watching film. Let's watch those things. Because those things are the most important things. Are we rallying to the football? Is our backside coming? When I said that Rico was going and he ran, and y'all might have heard me in the live stream, I said, where's the backside? We stuffed the play on the front side. Linebacker comes up the hole, comes across the field, stops the running back feet. Defensive tackle filling the hole in the 3-hole. Rico stops and he slides to the right and he got a hole. Where's the back defensive end? Where's the backside linebacker? When they get the long pass on us, where J.C. Horn gets the long pass, it looks like we in cover 2, but it looks like Diggs running around with his receiver man to man. What coverage? We got to play with Fowler dives inside because we got a cornerback on the left hand side of our defense that has no receiver out there. So Fowler says, I'm going to go dive inside because the cornerback over there got outside contained now. Fowler goes inside to try to make a big play. That might have been a guess. That might have been a bad play. Diggs come up. The running back slides that way. Diggs comes up. He don't come run all the way through it. He stops 3 yards off the line of scrimmage. Breaks down. Rico cuts in front of him and run up the field, and he had to jump on his back and grab him for an 8-9 yard gain. That should have been stopped in the backfield. The little things. And we're watching how we get, when you're playing 15 yards off the ball and there's a run up the middle, the running back should not contact you standing at 10 yards off the ball. You should go get him. Are we getting off receiver blocks down the field? Tell me if Elam has made a tackle. Hold up, let me look. Hey, let me ask y'all this. Hold up. Y'all come with me here. I'm talking about Trayvon Diggs. Nah, the person we need to talk about is Elam. He needs to be on the sideline. And that's it. Tell me if Elam made a tackle. Trayvon had 3 tackles. Okay. Now, he gets tackles. But when you look at his tackles, you can say, well, dog, man. Anyway, those are the LVE tackles that I used to get. But let's look at number 20. How many tackles he got? He's not even on this list. He's not even on this list. He ain't no good cover guy, and he don't tackle nobody. Everybody think I'm talking about Trayvon Diggs, but Elam is worse. And then I'm watching this game with Kansas City, and Kansas City came in this game and said, yeah, Detroit is the bad team, the big bad bullies. They supposed to be so tough. They supposed to be so physical. And they came and bullied the bully. This is how you get out of look at this. Look, this is how you get out of losing streaks. This is how you get your team back to winning. you apply the physicality to it and say, we just got to go out there and gangster us a victory. We got to go out and beat people down. We got to be tougher than other guys. We don't say that. We say we got to go out and get somebody else. If you bring a real dog in here, bring a real outspoken dog in here. That's what y'all want you to do. I don't know if Max Crosby is outspoken. If it's anybody, I would like Max Crosby. I don't want the guy from Cincinnati. No. Yeah, but if you bring Max Crosby, I want you to bring a real dog in here. A real dog. Because a real dog gonna call a spade a spade. Yeah. A real dog gonna walk around the room and he gonna be able to point out. He gonna be able to smell who ain't no dog. See, a real dog gonna come here sniffing around. Yeah, he gonna sniff everybody out. He gonna watch the film and see what the film say too. See, a real dog, you bring a real dog in here, he gonna sniff out the ones that ain't no dog. Yeah, let's bring a real dog in here. Yeah. Y'all remember this thing I said a couple years ago? You got to find the imposters. And I think that's the only thing Schottenheimer hadn't done. And that might be coaches too. But Schottenheimer, you need to find the imposters. Because you got some people that's on this team that's impersonating that they want to win football games. That's impersonating that they really are down with the grind to win. Yeah. And when you find those imposters, you got to eliminate them. Some of the imposters y'all might find might be better than what y'all think they are. But let's bring a real dog in here so he can sniff it out. Find out what's going on. Put a nose and find out who is who. Because you got some imposters here. And I know everybody's going to go on up, but I said this again. I'm going to say it again. This defense is soft. They're soft mentally and they're soft physically. And when I say they soft physically, I mean that they're soft physically. But they're more important, they're soft mentally. Because when you start to talk about what coverage I'm in, we need to play more men, and guys run the ball for 200 yards, and we talk about guys running wide open down the field, and that means you don't really understand that them little few times the guys ran down the field didn't hurt you. You don't understand that a guy running for 200 goddamn yards on you is a problem. And I don't want nobody got that much no football IQ on my football team. You should understand that there's a problem that a guy ran for 260, almost 200 yards on you on 30 carries. And his longest carry was 15 yards. That's the same thing that the guy did for your Buffalo. That guy from Buffalo had number 120-yard carry, ran for 200 yards. 8, 9, 10 yards a carry. That's what Michael Parsons was on our team. And it's the same secondary that I said did they wasn't attacking the football. And everybody done blamed it. We done blamed the lineman. We done blamed Mozzie and got Mozzie damn near kicked off this team. We blame Mozzie. We done blame all the defensive linemen. We done blame all the linebackers. We done ripped them to pieces. But nobody has said this back end secondary has made a difference in the run game. Nobody. And then they're giving up big passes. So what the hell are they doing? And that's your cancers. Your cancers are secondary. And it was with me, Diggs, Bland. If he done filter into them, his ass can go too. But Diggs, Donald, Malik Hooker, Wanye, hell, Bell too, all them. Bye. Now, I don't want to say, Coach, you know a little bit all that, because I have no tolerance for guys now that are not attackers, because I'm back against the wall. We got a guy that came in here talking trash. He was running. He told us to buckle up, and you ain't buckle up. I watched guys turn down tackling Rico. I watched guys stand there to jump on, to grab on the side. Oh, it might be on film. I might be mistaken. My eyes are bad. The first view. But if I watch the second view and get the same impression, that's how you fix this. We could talk about getting other people, talk about ripping evil flus. Let's get on their asses that don't be out there playing hard. See, this is the same thing that happened in the school system right now. Everybody talk about the teacher. When we do that, we giving these guys excuses. Now, maybe yes. Now, is Eberflus and his coaching staff not with no blame? No. Could they do better as a putting this thing together? Yes. But first, the effort and the want to got to be there. And don't tell me that they don't have no want to, or they was having some problems with it, and they're not playing hard, they're not playing fast, or they're not playing because it's fun. And here it is, you got a chance to be in the damn race. You coming off the victory, and the other team's coming back, and you got a chance to be in the race. And then once you start facing adversity, then you decide to start pouting. There is no scheme when a guy run the ball up the middle. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something y'all might not want to hear. You missed Sanborn today. That's why I say Sandberg going to have a place on this team where he's going to be able to fit in, but it's got to be a certain role. And this team running the ball downhill would have been his day. Chiefs saw an opportunity to get back in this race. They had a team coming into their hometown that was flying high. There was a physical team, and they said, we're going to take the physicality and win. We're going to be the alphas today. And we're going to be more physical. And we're going to go back to fundamentals, and fundamentals are attacking these fast guys and attacking this team and putting some pads on guys. We ain't got that, man. And for everybody out there talking about, well, we would have been better off if we had Michael Parsons. Man, let me tell you something. Michael Parsons had 3 assisted tackles today. Michael Parsons ain't got 5 tackles. I don't think he got 10 solo tackles all year long. 3 assisted tackles, no sacks today. 3 assisted tackles. But they won the game. And guess what? They're not worried about if he getting those goddamn stats. They worried about W's. But it ain't like he blazing the trails. They just went out and physically, they just physically beat up on Detroit. And now here come Washington. And they coming for blood in the water. And they gonna come here physical. And they gonna come here to attack our secondary because they see what we see. They're gonna come to attack our secondary. They're gonna come to attack you, Bland. They're gonna come to attack you, Diggs. They're gonna come to attack you, Elam, because they know that y'all don't tackle. We got the 2 worst tackling corners in the league. And then compound that, we got 2 of the worst filling the gap safeties in the league. Wanye can't stay on the field either because he get hurt every 5 minutes. I don't even believe the safeties are in this room. Maybe the New Woods, maybe Clark. Those guys, I want to see them get on the field. And if it's a problem, and if you feel that you put defenses out there and there's a problem with coverage, change the whole secondary. But what I'm saying ain't going to come out to the end of the year. This offense needs to run the ball better in games. And I hope we just ain't getting ourselves into a point that we feel that we just got to start pressing as an offense because bad games are coming for Dak when we do that. Not saying it's because Dak is a lame up quarterback. No. It's that when you start pressing, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. You're right, Coach 45. That's what you did. They just physically broke down the best NFC team and the high-powered offense. They physically broke it down. They didn't do nothing no more what scheme-wise they've been doing. They said, we're going to play what we playing. They play a lot of damn zone. They play some man. They get out the quarterback. They listen. Whatever they do it aggressively. And then they start to shut down, and that's how you go and just how you go and you shut down other teams. You ain't gonna keep them from not scoring, but they just squeeze them like an anaconda, and they did it physically. And I'm gonna say this again. Cowboy fans, I'm going to leave you with this. And I thank all y'all for being in the chat with me. I will leave you with this. First, I would like you to like, comment, and subscribe. If you hadn't subscribed, please tell your friends about it. Tell your friends. I know some of this may not be some of my best work, but let your friends know, man. I am about 340 subscribers away from getting to the ultimate goal of 1,000 subscribers. I need to get to that 1,000 subscriber point. I also I got a monitor I got to buy and some other equipment because I'm going to start a new studio. I will no longer, maybe in the next week or so, I'm no longer be on this laptop. Y'all seen the last video, I had a watch party. It went out, and everybody said, where Coach Marv went at? I just went out because my laptop went out, and I was off the screen. But I'm going to start a new studio. I have a computer. You can see right over over my shoulder here. There's a computer, but there's some other stuff I got to buy to get there. So if you want to support the channel, there's a super chat that's on there. I don't know if I can see it from here, from Riverside, but if you send that, I will definitely see the super chat later, man. Please put that super chat because it'll be in the chat box for other people, right? Send a super chat. That's going to help sponsor the channel. And if you want to send the little sticker for the support channel, that's going to help to sponsor the channel. It takes a lot of money to try to run these things, man, and it takes stuff to put this together, man. But I'm trying to get everything I can get together for you. Also, there's my Cash App is in the left-hand corner. $PBS 222. Donations, $1, $2, $3. It's all going to be used to be able to get the equipment so we can give you even better solutions and better presentation of us. I say this again, Cowboy, and I leave my fans with this. It is a lot of people out there that gets with the Cowboy. It's crazy enough. Our participation and our growth in our channels go up when we have adversity. When we win, there's not really a lot of talk. But when we lose, there's a lot of people that's want to know what's going on with the Cowboys. But I will say again, it's got to be physical. We talked a lot about the physicality of the offense, having a physical presence. We talked about us running the ball, being physical, right? But the same thing goes with our defense. And if we are not physical, we talked about the one tech and all what he's supposed to do. But the same thing goes in with our defense. That's a bad sign. Players out there fighting, man, on the field. That's crazy, man. That's some crazy stuff, man. Look at this here, man. Look at this here, man. This is some crazy stuff there, man. That is uncalled for. That is uncalled for by the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs, man. That ain't got nothing to do. Ain't no need to start fighting because they beat y'all up on the field. That's what usually the team that fights. Usually the guy that throwing the blows and fighting is the one that's got his butt kicked all game long. And now he want to fight because he got his butt kicked all game long. And the NFL need to have this on videotape and suspend their ass for out there fighting out there unnecessary. They should suspend them. They should suspend them right now. All this Pacheco and all this going back and forth and all that following the guy and all that stuff, all that should be suspended. They should be suspended. Should be suspended for y'all. That right there, all that should be suspended. All that should be suspended. Yeah, those two, both of them. You should be suspended for 2 or 3 games. I'll suspend them for 3 or 4 games. Hurt their pockets. Because that don't have no place after a football game to go through all that. That has no place in this game. And it really doesn't have no place for our young people to see it. Because now you're going to see that in the high school game. Because they follow what they see here. And so they need to show that at the pro game. Because if it was a high school player that did that, and he did that to a player, they're probably suspended for 5, 6 games, or they're suspended for the season. So what you need to do is these pro players, if they do stupid stuff like that, you need to hit them very hard to let younger people know that if you do stuff like this, is a swift punishment. This is where you teach our young people. This is where you teach our young people, but the punishment you give the people who are supposed to be adults and when they doing certain things. See, if you let this guy slide with a 1-game fine or something like that, you're teaching our young folks there ain't no consequences. But you need to teach our young folks, and you need to publicize that big so when they look out there and they say, oh, they were fighting as a pro team. Ooh, he got suspended 6 games. He lost I don't know how much money. And then you can pass that down to a high school league and say, hey, if they spend 6 games, we spend the whole season if you fight. Then you may have some people who have a little bit smarter thinking before they go out and do something like that. For one, they shouldn't even never showed it on TV. They shouldn't even show the replay on TV. They should have left that to the NFL people to see that. They shouldn't have went back and said we need to find out what happened. I think that's the same thing as when you have a player run on the field, a person run on the field, they don't show it. You don't need to show these fights after the game. The game was the game. All this stuff after the game, you don't need to show it on camera because that's only making other guys, younger guys, want to do the same thing. Let's don't show that. But let's find their ass hard. See, we got a problem in this country if we show stuff as negativity that we shouldn't be showing, and we publicize it when it shouldn't be publicized. Because when we publicize it, it gives other people ideas to do the exact same thing. Never publicize stupidity. Let the police see that. The country ain't got to see it. But the viewing people who are doing the prosecuting, they need to see it. The NFL players that show the rules of people, they need to see it. And then they need to be swift with their punishment. Because you got a brand, your brand is to your kids out there. That's why we have the stuff we have with these younger kids because of adults doing the exact same thing, and we publicize it. NBC should have cut away from that. Because that ain't got nothing to do with football. And that's what they should have said. We're not showing that because that has nothing to do with the game. So we're not showing that type of behavior. Yes. See, that's not being tough. See, that's why we're going to come out next week and we're going to have our guys doing that. Or they start out there, they fighting and pushing people. That ain't tough. Show me you tough by putting your pads on people. And listen, man, I'll say it again, and I'm sorry I went on a tangent, but that really pissed me off. But I say it again, man, if we're not physical, there's no chance for us to win this year. And we need to, it's time to have it's time for the players to have a meeting. I've never been a fan of players-only meetings. I say that nothing ever comes accomplished from a players-only meeting. Only thing comes out of the players-only meeting is a bunch of lies and a bunch of people faking. But it's probably time for a players-only meeting. It's time for a players-only meeting, and it's time to address the elephant in the room. If we talking about scheme, but it's time to address the elephant in the room of are we bringing it? And we'll see. But I'm very disappointed by this loss. I didn't expect this loss to be, I thought it would be a very tough fought game, but I wanted us to find a way to bring it in. But if we would have just came anyway and matched their physicality with our defense, we could have won this game easily. I saw what I saw again in Detroit, in Green Bay. I saw it again against Carolina. And it's concerning. It's trying to change out the room, man. It's time to give these young guys a full go. Maybe Butler coming back is going to help too. Carson coming back, maybe get his chance. I ain't ready to throw Diggs off the board yet. But Elam got to go. Dono, no. And Matt Eagleflus, you're on the hot seat, baby. And I said this in the show, and I'm gonna leave you this. If it ain't who you want out there, they ain't doing what you want, you better pull the trigger. Cause they already setting to pull the trigger on you by talking trash. Until next time, people, man, thank y'all for just listening to me, man. Please like, comment, and share. Let's try to get this thing. I'm gonna try to come on sometime this week, man, but it's gonna be a hectic week. My church has revival this week, and with them having revival, that's gonna take up some of my time. So I don't know if I'll be on it probably till Thursday. Yeah, I gotta go, man. I gotta try to go get me some rest, K. But I appreciate you coming in. I know you might have came in, but when I click off this, man, go to my YouTube channel and flip on it, and there's some good information. But there's a lot of ranting and raving. Well, when we talk, when we get out to a game like this, we got a lot of emotions that going through, and we just uh, just talking about a whole lot of stuff, man. We need to think about this, and and that's right, man. Kurt 45. I'm really trying to think about this in a way that we need to be thinking about this, man. We really need to think about this in a football sense. That's why the name of this show was. It's trying to answer some real football questions. Football wise, are we doing the things football wise to be successful as a football team? And that is hustle, football, physicality, and grit. Are we doing the real? That's the questions. And I want y'all to go out there and ask those questions of your football counterparts. Are we doing this right thing football wise? Not Hollywood wise, not ticket wise, not fancy wise. Football wise. Do you see a gritty, hard-nosed football team? Until next time, man, I love y'all. Good night. We'll be back. We're going to keep on pushing. We're going to get to 6. We just got to learn how to get there. We got to get there the right way.